Okay, hi guys, this is going to be a long critique on Eckhart Tolle and a lot of other spiritual teachers of the New Age and how their teaching is mostly just unscientific bullshit and that you shouldn't really believe in any of it. So let's get started. The first point. There's a thing called presence which flows from the unmanifested. This is Eckhart's one of his famous teachings. He says that there is something called an unmanifested, which basically means that there is a reality which is outside of this physical reality, and from that there is a substance which is known as presence, which he says it flows into this universe. I don't think there is anything like the unmanifested, and there's no scientific backing or claims to support that there is this substance called presence emerging out from the unmanifested. Like ages ago, people would say that there was an ether, which is basically something material in which light exists and like all these physical objects exist. But then it turned out there was no such thing as ether, it's just vacuum everywhere. And so it is with Eckhart's teachings also. There's a big vacuum in what he's trying to explain to people. So the next thing he says that his teachings form a presence collective that dissolves our karma. So I heard in one of his teachings, he says that, when people come together and sit in a group with him, and when he starts speaking, he creates this sort of presence collective with his voice. This field of presence is created. And then he says that this field of presence basically dissolves your karma. So him speaking with millions, not millions, thousands of people inside an auditorium creates a field in which people's karma are getting dissolved, which is what he claims and is again a lot of BS. So the next thing, there's something called karma, or in his words, pain body, a collection of past emotional pain. So according to Eckhart, we all have a lot of emotional pain inside of us, which is not just pain from this life, but from a lot of other lifetimes as well. And he calls this collective pain as pain body, or in the Eastern terms, it's known as karma, which is basically your emotional pain that is accumulated through lifetimes and lifetimes of suffering, and it lives inside you. And he says that the presence dissolves this pain. So first of all, I don't think there is any evidence about past lives or karma. There is no such evidence that there is an emotional field inside you that is a pain body which feeds on pain and emotions and thoughts. That is what he says. There's absolutely no evidence to any of that. There is a brain, and emotions are generated because of neuronal circuits that are in the brain. And of course, there can be trauma, there can be a lot of emotional pain inflicted onto you in this lifetime by your parents or by other people in your life. But these are all mechanisms that are inside your brain. So he says that there is a mind which is separate of the brain, and he says that consciousness gives rise to the brain, which then gives rise to the body, which again doesn't really make sense. There is no such thing as consciousness giving rise to the brain. Is the brain which gives rise to the consciousness. It's because of the neuronal activities in your brain that consciousness as a byproduct is triggered. And to be honest, science itself doesn't know a lot about consciousness. We are not at this stage in our lifetimes where we can discuss about consciousness with so much confidence as what Eckhart Tolle suggests to do. So that's one of his points. And of course, he says that his presence can dissolve people's past pain or their pain body. Then he says there's a separate intelligence in presence which is beyond thought. So according to Eckhart, there is an intelligence which is basically embedded inside presence, and this intelligence is beyond thought, which basically means that presence can guide you to do different things, and he says that that intelligence needs to be used. He says it's the same intelligence that plants use and animals use, and basically it's the intelligence of the universe, and this is separate from the intelligence of thinking. And he says that the presence intelligence is a superior form of intelligence. Well, I guess some neuroscientist needs to have a talk with him and really let him know that what he's saying is again complete crap. Let's come to conscious manifestation now. So you can attract positive outcomes without really putting in any work for it. So conscious manifestation is one of the many attractive features of this new age philosophy that a lot of these teachers talk about. And basically it says that you just have to imagine about some outcome. So for example, say if you want to become rich, so you just have to think once that there's a lot of money around you, and then send it out into the universe, and then stop thinking about it. And by not pining about it and by not thinking too much about it, you can manifest that into your life. And you don't really have to also put in a lot of work for it. You just have to think about it and send it out to the universe, and somehow the universe will magically do things for you, and all these riches will start appearing for you. And it's a way of deluding people, by selling this idea that you don't have to work in order to get what you want. Is very, very attractive. I can see how people would love, to grab this idea. Oh my God, I don't have to work at all, and I can just think of something and I can manifest that, and it's really attractive. But there is no such thing as conscious manifestation. In order to get things in life, there are a lot of factors. First of all, you need to be in a country where the economic conditions are suitable, so that your hard work can get you what you are looking for. I mean, if Eckhart was, say, born in some place like Africa, or some sub-Saharan deserted area, he probably would have done all the manifestation he wanted to do, but nothing would have come to his life. Or say if he was in like Somalia or some like South Sudan or some other place, nothing would have happened. All the manifestation would have gone for complete waste. So it's not manifestation, it's being born with the right circumstances. And of course, then you need the talent and the hard work to get you to where you want. So conscious manifestation is bullshit. It doesn't really work. And he sells courses which are worth like thousands of dollars, which actually teach people how to manifest their outcomes. So that's not working for us as well. If you want to gain money, then start donating it. I heard in one of his podcasts that if you basically want to attract money, what you do is you send money out by donating it. And by doing that, you send a signal to the universe that you're not really attracted to money. And this, by some strange logic, will attract more money to you. He says that money likes being, distributed, and by giving to other people, you are making sure that you're attracting that money back to yourself, which is a very strange logic which a lot of people expound, and I think it's bullshit. So he teaches conscious suffering. Basically, he gives the example of Jesus Christ, and he says that You need to carry the cross of suffering like Christ does to dissolve the pain body, which basically means that he's trying to tell people to consciously invite suffering into their lives, so that their pain bodies can be dissolved, just like Christ, had this cross above him, and he was like bending down to the cross, willingly carrying the pain to dissolve it. I don't think you need to consciously invite suffering into your life. In fact, you need to figure out ways so that suffering doesn't come into your life. And these ways are science and technology and reading and staying up to date with the latest advancements in the society that we live in. That is how we as a society can collectively avoid suffering, by making use of new technologies, by making use of new and advanced healthcare. That is where we should be focusing if we want to remove suffering, and not think about like taking the cross upon our head to basically, dissolve our so-called pain body. So that's bullshit. Then he says that antidepressants block presence, and he promotes things like homeopathy and Chinese medicine, which is absolutely no basis in scientific rationality. And then antidepressants block presence. I mean, what the fuck is that? I don't think antidepressants really block presence. They help people come out of depression. There have been multiple cases and studies which have shown that they are effective drugs in treating the mental illness phenomena that our society experiences. So it does not block presence, and please do not follow his teachings. If you're depressed, go to a certified psychiatrist, and if she or he suggests you to take antidepressants, please take that. It can help you with your life. Next thing, yeah. So I think Eckhart's experiences, he says that he's enlightened, but I think his subjective experiences are just a mental condition that he is probably suffering from. He probably has some mental condition. Maybe it's a disease, maybe it's a mental illness, and which makes him feel, blissful at times. And then he attributes all these blissfulness to some kind of presence or otherworldly experience that he's having. So be careful of that. I think he's deluding himself, and in the process also deluding millions of other people. So that doesn't work. This one is really cool. There's a soul that reincarnates. So a lot of Eckhart's teachings and a lot of Eastern teachings in general by Ramana Maharshi and many other people basically say that there's a soul that we all embody, and this soul sort of migrates from one lifetime to the other, reincarnating itself, and it carries the memory of one lifetime to the other lifetime, and so on and so forth. Well, nobody really knows what happens after death. Eckhart himself doesn't know. Just sitting on a chair and saying that okay, there's a soul which sort of reincarnates doesn't make that idea any more viable. So there is no such thing as a soul, or even if there is, we have no scientific claims for that. No one knows what happened before life. No one knows what happened after life, because people who die do not talk to us. We have no idea of knowing what happens to you after death. So believing in any theories about afterlife and soul and reincarnation is deluding yourself. And without any evidence, you cannot guide people to believe in such theories. Then he says there are portals to presence, like feeling your inner body or feeling the energy inside your hands. What is this energy that's inside your hands? There is no energy that's inside your hands. If you feel your hands, there's a sense that's called proprioception, which is basically an idea of where your hands are. Your brain sort of constructs a sense which tells you where your hand is at this moment. Even if you close your eyes, you can feel your hands, you can feel your legs. That's known as proprioception. And he says that feeling it is basically feeling presence, basically trying to stop thinking, which is which I just clarified. It's not presence, it's proprioception. Then he says, your progress in enlightenment is the degree to which your thoughts are absent. So basically, he's saying that if you want to see if you are enlightened or not, then you have to see how many thoughts you're getting. If you're getting lesser and lesser thoughts, then that means you're closer and closer to enlightenment. So basically, he's trying to propose that thought is in general a bad thing, and having lesser of it is a goal that we should aspire to. And I don't think thoughts are necessarily bad. Overthinking might be a bad thing, but I think you need to learn how to think right, basically, and not think in the wrong manner. So it's definitely like having lesser and lesser thoughts is not a measure of how enlightened you are or you're not. So he says thinking is a disease, something which even J. Krishnamurti says, which is again wrong. If you are going to suspend all your cognitive abilities, you're not going to figure out ways as to how to earn your money and how to educate yourself and how to think rationally about life and about your own living conditions in a rational adult way. You're just gonna like let go of thought, and then what? Like just sit and be like a mendicant somewhere. That's not a great advice to give to people. So again, be careful. Uh, Presence can interfere with electricity. So this is interesting. One of his again woo-hoo bullshit. I saw this one interview in which he says that there was this one time he was sitting in a room and there were people who came with electronic equipments and they were trying to record him, but they couldn't because there was a short circuiting in electronic equipments. And he says that the presence that he generates can interfere with electricity, and that this sort of presence can affect electric signals, which is a lot of crap. So he says animals are below the level of thought. He says that just a second. Yeah. So animals are below the level of thought. So humans are humans are at the level of thought, and humans that are taking his teachings are above the level of thought, and animals are below the level of thought. Uh, First of all, we have no evidence to say that animals don't get thought. Maybe they might get lesser thoughts compared to humans, but like you cannot really say that dogs or cats don't have thoughts. So this concept of below thought and above thought and beyond thought is just quite implausible. I think every sentient being has thoughts, and it's through thoughts that you sort of understand what to do next. Thoughts are like uh, programmatic impulses which tell you what to do next. So when a cat sees like a mouse, it definitely has a thought which basically tells the cat to run after that mouse and chase it and hunt it down. When dogs smell their owners, they have a thought that the owner is back home, and that makes them happy. So I think the way humans have thoughts, animals and animals also have thoughts. They are not beyond, they're not below thought. uh, I don't know where he comes up with such ideas. The next thing he says that it's the destiny of humans to go beyond thought, especially humans that are his followers. Through his teachings, you can go beyond thought and reach that special place of presence, which is a superior form of intelligence. So that is not how it works. Then, of course, Eckhart earns a lot of money through his courses. He's a millionaire. Last time I checked his uh, earnings, it's somewhere around $100 million or something, and all his courses are beyond behind paywalls. So there's a hefty price for enlightenment. In a way, he's saying that okay, sure, there is a thing called enlightenment, but only the rich have access to it. If you're poor, you cannot be enlightened because you cannot afford his courses. But that's fine. I'm not going to judge him on that. It's a business, and if he wants to make money from that, it's his own. It's his own calling. So the next thing he says that the purpose of life is to be conscious, is to let consciousness flow through yourself by listening to his teachings. I don't think there is any purpose to life. A lot of philosophers have said similar things. If you read Homo Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, he says the same thing. Life is basically meaningless and purposeless. There is no fixed purpose to your life. You're born and then you have to survive, and that is what life is all about. If you want to give it a purpose, there is no special purpose. There is no such thing as enlightenment. Uh, then he says that breath creates presence. So by using some sort of prana yoga, you can create presence. I'm sure there is. I don't know if there is any validity to pranayama and breath work and yoga, but I'm sure it might have some health benefits. But to say that it generates presence is just misleading, uh, because first of all you're not really sure as to what the definition of presence is. So then saying that this breath creates presence is just wrong. Who am I meditation. So there's a famous meditation by Sri Ramana Maharshi where he says that you need to just ask yourself this question: who am I, who am I, who am I, continuously. And then the answer to that question will tell you who you are, which is you beyond your true self. I don't think there is any such thing as true self. You have a brain which generates a consciousness and which gives you a sense of self, which is this I that you associate with your thoughts, with your body. And just by asking who am I, you're not going to go to that special place called presence and figure things out. So all these great spiritual teachers died of horrible deaths. I mean, Ramana died of pancreatic cancer. J. Krishnamurti died of pancreatic cancer. Another teacher called Nisargadatta died of throat cancer. So what's really happening, guys? I mean, if you are enlightened and if so much of like peaceful, blissful energy is flowing through you, which is supposed to treat you of illnesses, which also Eckhart says that he says that consciousness improves your immunity. The presence goes through your body and sort of improves your immunity. Then what is really happening? Like why did all of these people die from these cancers? Something is missing. um, and many say that, yeah, so many people have proposed this theory that these so-called spiritual gurus were just absorbing their disciples karma. So by absorbing the disciples karma, they were taking on the karma, and these karma were converting into cancers, and basically they were helping their disciples by taking on their karma. Such blind faith, I tell you. And once someone asked Ramana how to deal with others. So some well-meaning person must have gone to Ramana Maharshi and be like, okay, can you tell me how to deal with other people? This can really help me in my life, at my workplace, with my colleagues. And to which Ramana answers, there is no other. I mean, what sort of a response is that? What do you mean there is no other? There is me and there are other people. And, if you are so talented and if you're so accomplished, can you tell me, can you teach me how to deal with others? So give me a simple answer, bro. And another one, which all of these people say, Ramana, Osho, Eckhart, there is something called intuition, and we are supposed to follow it by abandoning rational thinking. So they all say that this presence, this force of consciousness can guide you, and you can be intuitive about it, and this there's this intelligence which they call as intuition, which, well, if you listen too much to your intuition and do not use your head, it's going to guide you in the wrong places. You have to make rational decision. A great book is Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow by the Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman. That is a book which you should read. It teaches you how to think. It teaches you that there are these two different ways of thinking. There's this one instinctive way of thinking, and then there's one rational way of thinking, and then there are different areas in life in which you use the instinctive or the intuitive way of thinking, and there's a different area of life in which you use the rational way of thinking. So if in all areas of life, if you use the first way of thinking, which is the intuitive way of thinking, it's going to lead you into trouble. So thinking rational is the way of going about things. Taking by reading scientific literature and by knowing, how people have sort of studied human behavior and figured out how to understand human behavior, and taking wisdom from that is the way to go about it, and not by sort of abandoning your thinking and sort of saying that this presence intuition will help me and guide me. It will only guide you to the wrong areas. And the last one, affirmations. So all these people come up with these techniques called affirmations. Affirmations are basically positive statements that you repeat to yourself again and again, and they say that these affirmations can manifest your reality. So as an example, you say that, okay, I am a rich person. I am a wealthy person. I have $1 million in my bank account. I have all the money in the world. And you repeat this to yourself again and again. And by doing this, you can actually get to that $1 million. Or you say things like, I have a great body. I have six-pack abs. I am the most attractive person in the world. Everybody loves me. Everybody gives me attention. And by doing, repeating these affirmations to yourself, gradually you see things being manifested in your life. Or say like, I am a loving person and people love me and I have lots of good relationships. It's all right. You can think positively, but I don't think that just by repeating or affirming these positive statements in your life, you can gain these things. Ultimately, you have to put in the hard work for it. You have to understand how the game works. You have to play by the rules, and that is how it works. Thank you for watching this video and subscribe for more. Bye-bye.